Welcome to the Powerline Podcast, the official podcast of Greystone Power. I'm your host, Emily Young, and today we're taking a look at some of the notable moments for Greystone in 2025. So, let's get started on episode 63 of the Powerline Podcast. To reflect on 2025 and look ahead to 2026, we're joined by President and CEO Gary Miller, who will share key events and accomplishments of your electric cooperative. Welcome back, Gary. It seems like you were just here yesterday. The time has really flown by. It's great to have you here. Thanks for taking some time to chat with me today. A lot of milestones happened in 2025. Let's start with an update on Greystone Connect, our high-speed fiber internet subsidiary. How is this service benefiting Greystone members now?
Well, thank you, Emily. It is great to be here with you, and I would agree, time flies. It seems like we were just meeting, doing this the other day instead of a year ago. But Greystone Connect, our fiber internet provider, I would tell you, is doing fantastic. It's exceeding the expectations that we had set for it. We have built so far over nearly 1,160 miles of fiber. We've connected almost 3,300, but this week we should have our 3,300th member subscribing to that. And our goal for 2025 was to build 900 miles and have 3,000 active customers at that time. So we're exceeding all of those projections, and I will tell you the response from our members who have it is just overwhelmingly positive. It's something we're really, really proud of. You know, when you think about, though, broadband, and especially as we think about this being our 90th year in business, of when the early members of Greystone formed the company and began to bring power into areas that were unserved. It's the same thing with broadband. You know, as we started that, we're bringing broadband, a lot of it to areas that are unserved and certainly underserved areas. So it's really a good time to kind of reflect on what that's doing in conjunction with our 90th anniversary this year.
Let's talk about our 90th anniversary for a minute. Our co-op was formed back in 1936 in what was then a much more rural area. What did those early co-op pioneers do that impacts our members now in 2026?
Well, you know, I've always said that where we are today with Greystone has been built on the shoulders of those who have gone before us over the history of the co-op. Way back when this area didn't have power, and the farmers got together and formed Greystone, working together and pooling their assets in order to build and bring reliable electric service to them. You know, they set it up as a cooperative owned by all of the members. And that's where we still are today. We still hold true to those roots. We're a nonprofit cooperative. We're owned by all of our members, just like it was 90 years ago, working together, pooling resources, our talents, working together to make sure we have a better quality of life. We all have electricity that we need, so much. And in every year, we're just continuing to build from those days where they used mules to pull poles and set the poles by hand to today where we've got the latest state-of-the-art trucks and hydraulic equipment to do all of that. We've evolved over time, but always remaining true to the core mission of bringing value, bringing reliable and affordable electricity to our members.
That's amazing. You know what else is amazing? Last winter, Greystone members had significant savings on their total monthly cost compared to customers of other electric utilities. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Well, our rates last year, and our members can look this up on the Public Service Commission's website as well. They publish this data. But our rates were 24% cheaper than the local investor-owned utility for members who use 1,500 kilowatt hours during the winter. But when you look at the summer for that same usage of 1,500 kilowatts, we were actually 33% less than the investor-owned utilities. Now, how do we do that? I would tell you we've negotiated very good wholesale power contracts, and we operate the cooperative in a very efficient manner. We do look after the value of our members, and we take costs very seriously, and we look at how we can keep our costs down. All that translates into very affordable rates.
In addition to low prices, GreyStone strive to deliver reliable power to our members. One way is through our right-of-way program, which keeps vegetation off the lines. What has the operations and engineering division been working on to provide reliable power?
Well, as you know, trees are probably the cause of 85% of our outages. Trees falling, sometimes they're dead, sometimes they're alive. It's hard to really identify, whether a tree might, be likely to fall on the lines. So we have to keep the right-of-way trimmed pretty aggressively. We are moving this year to a 3-year cycle where we're going to try to keep the right-of-way trimmed every 3 years, where in the past we were at a 5-year cycle. So due to the amount of growth of the trees, and we've seen trees, pine beetles, really taking a toll on trees in areas, and things, we're having to really spend more effort, keeping the trees off in order to help with the reliability of power. Our crews cleared vegetation of nearly 800 miles of line last year, and they removed about 12,000 trees, if you can believe that, 12,000 trees that were considered likely to cause power outages. And so, we have a reliability team that looks at every outage. What happened? Is there things we can do to avoid that situation happening again? We take all of this information in, and we're beginning to, look at how we can leverage AI as well to help us identify these areas in advance, so that we can be proactive and keep the power on rather than reacting to an outage.
GreyStone Power is always looking to make life better. In October, GreyStone returned $10 million in capital credits to members and former members. How is GreyStone able to do this?
So as I mentioned, earlier, GreyStone is a nonprofit electric cooperative. So what that means is any profits that we have, or we call them margins, and our lenders certainly require that we do have a margin. They want to make sure that we're able to pay our bills. But at the end of the year, we take those margins and we allocate 100% of it back to all of our members who had power that year. And then we look at our financial condition. We've been very fortunate. We manage the money very wisely. We're very efficient in what we do. And we look at that and we return as much of that back to our members as we can every year. And we totally believe in that, the principle of returning the investment back to our members over time. We've done it for, many, many years. I can't think of when we haven't retired patronage, in a year to our members. And this year it was $10 million. So yes, it's something that we're very proud of. And I would say, we've retired probably 160 million or more, over the years.
Capital credits is just one of the benefits of being a member of a cooperative like GreyStone Power. Now that we've covered 2025, let's turn our attention to 2026. Which project or initiative do you believe will bring the most benefit to GreyStone members this year?
So there are several things that we are doing. We talked a little bit about reliability and the power outages and things that we have, and we're always looking at continuing to invest in automation where we can restore power before the truck or a crew even begins to roll to an outage. And as part of that, we've taken our dispatch operation and we were incorporating some AI software to that, where now when we have an outage, our dispatchers will look at that and determine where they can open switches and close switches to try to restore power. And we are rolling out an automated system now that where the computer will do that in a fraction of a second. So our members should see their power restored much faster, as many of them as we can, and narrow the number who are out down to the specific location where these outages occur. So this is something we're really excited about as we roll that out over the course of next year.
Well, we can't wait.
Yes, and that will be, that's going to be something we're very proud and really looking forward to the impact that will have. And then I would say, broadband, we talked about that. We're continuing to expand that. We'll start another phase of that as well, and try to get to where we're covering most of the rest of our system. We've kind of been doing this in phases. This will be our fourth phase of doing that we will start this year. So watching how we continue to build that out, bringing that to the remainder of our membership, looking right now to go where they don't have the option for fiber right now. That's our focus on where we build out going forward. And then we are going to, as an organization, step back over this next year and really look at, again, efficiencies. It's something we are very attuned to. How can we get more efficient? How can we leverage or better leverage AI in the operations that we're doing that can help speed up efficiencies throughout the whole process to our members? We think that there are areas that we can certainly capture more AI. As I mentioned, using it some to determine dead trees or trees that are dying before you might even be able to recognize it by our eyes, just looking at it, but using AI to examine the chlorophyll of the leaves, for instance, can tell us when a tree is stressed and is dying, much earlier, and we can be proactive. So leveraging those technologies, I think, is going to be a big part of our focus for the next year.
Thank you for your time today. I know the members always appreciate these yearly updates. Okay. So we always ask everybody the same last question. Is there anything else you'd like to tell our members?
Well, first I want to thank our members for their support of the organization, of their patience with us at times when we've had outages. But we've got really great membership, here, and we're able to work very well together with them. So I certainly appreciate that. Over the past year, we've seen a lot of growth, a lot of residential growth, and I think we're going to continue to see that for years going forward. But not only residential growth, we've seen growth in large loads as well, in particular with data centers. And I know our members have heard, a lot about, you can read a lot about data centers. We are serving some data centers now, and we are still in discussions with other data centers. What I would say is there's a lot of misinformation out there regarding data centers, and I would tell our members, I want them to rest assured that first and foremost we're looking after our membership. We will not serve a data center where we're having to have our members take risk on that. These data centers are paying their way up front with us. There is no cross subsidies. People's electric bills are not going to go up because we're serving data centers. Our members are not going to experience power outages because data centers need a lot of power. We are securing other resources to serve those data centers. And I know there's a lot about how much water they use. Well, but the newest technology uses much, much less water. It uses more power instead. But, as I said, we've got power contracts for those. These organizations, are covering that. We have security and parent guarantees and things to make sure that our members are not on the hook in any way for these with data centers. So I want to make sure they understand, that we are looking after our members while we also are looking forward to serving some of these data centers.
Unfortunately, we're all out of time for today's episode. Make sure to check us out on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, available on our website, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. Thanks for joining us for episode 63. We'll catch you next time on the Powerline Podcast.